Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome back into Murner Fieldhouse. For the first time in 2019, it'll have the occupants, the Cardinals, playing inside on the hardwood. North Central hosting Carroll University this evening in a battle of women basketball teams. Welcome into the broadcast. Kevin Jackman alongside Zach Bucher on NCTV 17. This Cardinal team has fallen on a bit of hard times. They've dropped 3 straight. They were on the road. Now they come home. They get a chance to try and get their rhythm back, trying to get this team back on track. And Zach, this is a very young team, and we've seen some very good guard play. It'll be a welcome sight to have Ty Howard back on the floor tonight, but her alongside Newsom, this combo is fantastic.
Yeah, in the short amount of home games that the Cardinals have had so far this season, we've really got to enjoy how well they can play together. We've seen Newsom completely take over the game. We've seen Howard's speed just absolutely decimate teams. And you mentioned young teams. This Carroll team is extremely young. So we have good young players on the Cardinals, but it's going to be probably the vets on the Cardinals that need to step up here tonight.
That includes Dimitrova and Walls, who cannot connect there and turned over on the first possession of the game. Of course, Newsom coming off a 27-point night. There was a loss to the Washington University Bears in Waverly, Iowa. The Cardinals there for a couple of games. Also lost to number 24 Wartburg by 30 points. But Newsom with about 14 points in about a 3-minute stretch at the end of that game to pull the Cardinals at least to within a few points. She's a prolific scorer. It's just an opportunity for her tonight against a similarly young squad in Carroll, who does not have a junior or senior on this team. Another turnover. And it's back to the Pioneers, who lead 2-0.
Cardinals rushing things a little bit here early on, so they're going to have to avoid making any more turnovers. Otherwise, this game's going to get out of hand real fast.
First 2 points belong to Alyssa Cruz, a freshman from West Allis, Wisconsin. Pioneers lead 2-0. And an offensive charge, Lindsey Brennan taking it, hitting the deck, and it'll be coming the other way. One of the storylines over the course, really, of this whole season, but especially early on, is trying to figure out what kind of coach Maggie McCloskey-Bax is. Players call her Coach Bax, as she comes from various Division III programs, as Newsom connects for 3, giving the Cardinals a 3-2 lead. But she really has a chance to mold this program into what she wants it to be, considering the fact that this is a very young squad.
Absolutely, and she's got a couple of good junior and senior players that are still with this program that can help mold the younger players even further. But she has a great guard combo in Howard and Newsom. So it's going to be extremely fun to watch this team progress over the next few years.
Emily Majerus missing from 3. Now Walls pickpocketed, and she cannot get it back. Ending up with the basketball, Kayla Stefka. Into the lane, the floater knocked down. Alyssa Cruz with her second basket of the night, and her Pioneers once again lead. Ty Howard, you mentioned this off the top, blistering speed, almost blinding. Reminds you a lot of a former point guard, Mason Whipple, and just the way that she's able to use a little shake or so and create some space for herself or for a teammate, as the gimme layup is missed on the offensive end. That's Selena Schwantes. And now Lindsey Brennan buries the triple.
And three-point shooting is actually something that the Cardinals have somewhat improved on this season comparative to last. I believe they shot around 23, anywhere from 23 to 27% last year, and this year hovering right around 30% so far.
Brennan wants some more from the same wing, rattles it home. You talk about improved efficiency from deep. How about the fact that Brennan comes in, not a great shooter over the course of her first 2 years. She came into tonight at 42% from behind the arc, and that's only going to go up with those 2 makes.
It's all about practice in this game. You can have God-given talent, and you can make that even better, or you can work and work and work to make yourself better. And Brennan, she has the talent, and she's working on her game to make herself a top player in this conference.
Jump ball on the floor. The possession arrow points to the Carroll Pioneers. So they will get the rock. 6:54 to go, opening quarter, and a quick inbound pass and a conversion underneath. Majerus knocks it through, and a nice set coming out of the inbound pass. Stutter step, Newsom throws it out. Brennan, 3 in a row. Can she do it? In and out, no good.
Pretty sure the roof would have came off after that one.
I think so too. Majerus trying to swing it down low, and it's picked off by Dimitrova. Plucking it off the hardwood, Howard. She flies into the open floor, and that one bends around the iron. Picked up, brought up by Cruz. ahead and the layup.
I like the aggressiveness on that last possession, but 3-on-1, better to just kind of dribble it out and set up your offense, and in turn it results in a easy layup the other way.
3-on-1, the odds may ever be in your favor in that regard, but they hardly ever are. Dimitrova off the feet from Howard, count the basket and a foul. How about the pass there from the young point guard through traffic into that lower block?
This team very good at finding their teammates in open situations, especially the two guards of Howard and Newsom. Howard actually second in the conference in assists with 5.2 a game.
Converting the three-point play, Dimitrova has her first 3 points of the night. 12-8 North Central leads in the early going. First quarter of play, 5:50 to go.
And the last time the Cardinals were home, Dimitrova actually played extremely well and kept this Cardinal team in it all the way up until the end, where they just couldn't pull it out.
Katie Rossetti has back-to-back field goals for the Pioneers, draws to within 2. Brennan, stutter step into the lane, kicks. Dimitrova wants one from deep. And that one's in and out, no good. Trying to track it down was Hannah Vitkus, and she hits the hardwood. Trailing the play, the Pioneers have a man advantage, but now settle into the half-court set. The ball thrown near midcourt, and that'll roll out of play. Back and forth we go. And predictably, some uneasy play on both teams' parts, and we've talked about this numerous times over the course of the season. Experience is really the only remedy for youth.
Yeah, you got a bunch of players that are coming into this program, both programs for that matter, and the only way you're going to get any sort of experience is time on the court. So you have to work to better yourself, to get that time and to earn your time. And you have a few of these Cardinal players that are doing that early on.
Knocking down the layup, Sierra Gruber, and also drawing a foul on Hannah Vitkus, who got twisted up underneath the basket. Three-point play is no good, but we have ourselves a tied ball game, 12 apiece. Newsom with the rock in her hands, looking to create something into the lane, blocked from behind. Gruber swatting it away. High dribble, no call for the carry. Blocked by Dimitrova. How about that? Right back at you. Brennan and Dimitrova checking out of the game. Excuse me, that was Newsom out of the game. Dimitrova remains in the contest. She works defensively in the lower block and disrupts that shot. And that's flash touch by the Pioneers. The shot missed by Rossetti. Into the game for the first time, Allie Pearson and Paige Dessenberg. Howard gets the Cardinals into the half-court set. Pearson trying to flash into the lane and nearly turned over. Dessenberg, cross-court Pearson. Nowhere to go with the basketball. Good handles over to Dimitrova with 6 on the clock. In and out, no good. As she scampers back, Pioneers held up in the backcourt by Howard. And an offensive foul called for a second time tonight against the Pioneers in that far corner.
Getting a little too anxious with the screens early on.
12-12, 3:46. The Cardinals haven't scored in a while. Lindsey Brennan leads the way with a couple of triples, has 6 points. Dimitrova with an old-fashioned three-pointer, and Newsom with their own 3. So, in a way, you could say the Cardinals are without a true 2-point field goal almost through the first quarter. Nice entry pass down low to Dimitrova, works her way underneath, and there it is.
Ask and you shall receive.
creativity down low for Dimitrova, worming her way to a basket.
And she's just gotten better and better in the post over the last season or so.
That one skips off the rim the other way. Hayden Braun into the game as well at the backup point guard position in place of Ty Howard. Down low, Rossetti. And she gets the basket against Dimitrova.
That's too easy. You got the help defense has to come over and help shut off the left hand.
And a travel called on the Cardinals despite the missed. We'll make that the make. So it remains 14-14, and Rebecca Foley will check into the game for the first time tonight. Hannah Vickus comes out. Cardinals 3-10. And like I mentioned 10 or 15 minutes ago, they have dropped 3 straight. Carroll is 6-6. They're 1-2 in the conference. The Cardinals are 1-3. Hayden Braun flying up the floor. Finds Foley. Cuts against the grain, into the lane. Underhanded shot, no good. Cardinals discernibly pressing on the offensive end, it appears.
Yeah, after the early hot streak shooting from deep, they're kind of struggling to find the rhythm in their offense in the last few minutes. Outside of the Dimitrova bucket, they haven't really got much inside.
Pretty good crowd on hand, especially in the student section. The marching band also in attendance tonight as students arrive back on campus following winter break. 3 from straight away, no good, missed, and Foley gets the long rebound. Hayden Braun, yeah, outlet pass. Goes right back to Foley. The quick trigger 3, no good. Hauled in with one hand by Mitrice Smith. Gets it back and draws a foul. Oh, or creates the foul.
She does a good job on the boards on both ends of the court. Right there showing that she really likes to battle for those offensive rebounds.
A freshman from Kewanee, Illinois has stepped in and, like you said, cleaned up a lot of rebounds for the Cardinals.
And she's been a big help in that regard off the bench too. One of the younger players that are contributing and earning time on the court.
Teresa Wixer misses the 3. Into the lane, Pearson taking it coast to coast. Not a lot of wiggle room underneath there.
Not at all. But it's nice to see some of the aggressiveness after we mentioned some lackluster offense over the last couple minutes.
Outside controlled by Amanda Hooks, who has checked into the game off the bench. 60 ticks remain here in the first quarter. Cardinals lead by 2. And a deep 3 taken, clanked off the back of the iron, no good, but an offensive rebound pulled down by Schwantes. Now she has the basketball, and a travel called as she took a step at the elbow. Newsom will play the point. Howard remains on the bench. 40 seconds to go here in the first quarter. Newsom hesitates, loses the basketball. It's picked away. Driving, Majerus hands off. The layup missed, but no attempt for the rebound on the other end of the floor.
Got to box out. So far, Cardinals kind of struggling with the defensive boards. Not a lot of boxing out, and the Pioneers getting a lot of hands and fingertips on a bunch of these rebounds.
Cardinals have one too many on the floor. Now Foley checks out to make it a legal 5. Howard back into the game as part of a 3-player swap. 1 of 2 made at the free throw line by Hooks. And it's a 1-point game. Cardinals lead 16-15, and this could be the final possession if they play it right. Shot clock has been turned off. Into the hands of Howard. Bounce past Brennan, into the lane, kicks. Outside, Newsom, wide open three, off the front of the rim, no good. 5 seconds remaining, plenty of time to do some damage with. Into the front court, heaved up, and with that, this first quarter has come to a close off the miss from Haley Harrigus. Up and down first quarter, and the Cardinals displayed a lot of good, but also some bad, some pressing, some inconsistency.
Yeah, and it's tough to do that, especially when you're not playing the best of basketball as of late. But all things considered, they still hold the lead here. They're still doing a good job on the defensive end, holding the Pioneers at bay, and you really got to just build off of that and improve your offense.
Pretty even across the board between these two teams, 35% from the field. Cardinals have knocked down 3 3-point field goals. The Pioneers haven't found their way to a single trade tonight. Really no difference. You go up and down that. Usually, and this is the way my mind works, is when you look at the stats and you compare the two teams over a course of time, usually you'll see some sort of discrepancy why one team is faring better than the other. There's a reason this is a 1-point game and these numbers are almost identical.
Well, the thing is the 1-point margin, you can accredit to the three-pointers that the Cardinals have hit. It almost seemed like over the last 5 minutes or so of that first quarter, it was more or less Carroll kind of taking control of the game. But because of that hot streak early on, the Cardinals were able to stay in it and come away with a 1-point lead at the end of the first.
11 combined turnovers in that first 10-minute stretch. We'll see if these two teams can clean it up here in the second. I will say not a lot of fouls, as the slate is wiped clean. Both teams with 0 team fouls to begin the second, as Howard jacks up a three. Buries it from the corner.
Howard finally rewarded after standing in the corner for what seemed like forever.
Gives her team a 4-point advantage. Coming back the other way, passing out. Now into the lane, the shot deadens on the back of the rim. Gerber able to knock it down. Do you get the similar sense that every time the Cardinals seem to hit the basket, Carroll comes right down on the offensive end and responds?
Yeah, and that was kind of the story in the first quarter, because the Cardinals would hit a three-pointer, and then, of course, Carroll came back and responded, which is why they kept themselves in the game and kept it a close game, even though the Cardinals had a 1-point margin.
Rossetti with the field goal, banked it home off the glass, and now Walls possesses outside the 3-point line. Brennan trying to find Dimitrova, no entry. Howard now in isolation, into the lane, sidesteps, she loses the basketball on her way to the hoop. It looks like she might have gotten interfered with, although tough to tell. .8:34 to go, 19-19 between the North Central Cardinals and the Carroll University Pioneers. Two very good teams. You can count the juniors on one hand.
Which is not something you can say very often.
And no seniors. Sierra O'Neal is the lone senior for the Cardinals, but she's in street clothes, hasn't played aside from a 3-minute stretch in one game earlier this season. So the youth wave has taken over for both of these programs as Dimitrova misses her first. And what you can say, and I've talked to a lot of coaches about this, it is a trying time because you have to really stay on top of your roster in the sense of instilling a culture, a regimen. But also at the same time, it's like putty. You get to play with it, you get to mold it, you get to create something that is entirely yours as a head coach because there's no tendencies that have been created. Shot missed on the other end.
Yeah, and you can see just by the way the Cardinals are playing, they're constantly trying different lineup schemes, constantly switching up. Whoever has the hot hand is at least getting an opportunity to ride that, and they're trying a bunch of different things. And that's obviously going to happen, especially with a brand new coach and a brand new system. So it like you said, very trying time, very trial and error time. So we'll see how everything kind of shapes as the season gets into the latter half of the schedule.
Sierra Gruber knocks down a couple of free throws, and that has given the Pioneers a lead. Swung around, Pearson with it on the wing, kicks it across. Howard has hit 1 3 already, sends that one into the crux of the rim. Thrown up ahead, and the shot missed. No foul called. Gruber thought there was one. Pearson alone on the wing for 3. Too strong, clanks off the back of the rim. Take 2, no good either. Jump shot taken from the elbow and knocked down by Alyssa Cruz, the second leading scorer for the Pioneers, and now they have their largest lead of the night at 3 points.
Well, you really have to, at this point, improve your interior defense if you're the Cardinals, because obviously Pioneers aren't getting much from beyond the arc. So they're really going to try and pound it down low, and you got to respond.
Kicked out, 3 taken from that far wing, and just as you say that, Gruber knocks down the 3. Lead has exploded to 6 points for the visiting Pioneers, and that is beckoned. Head coach Maggie McCloskey backs off the bench and calling a timeout. 30-second break. We'll keep it here for the moment. 7:09 to play here in the second quarter, and the Cardinal defense, which looked pretty stingy early on, starting to show some leaks.
Yeah, the Pioneers have found something that is working for them right now. Obviously, they're excelling down low and getting good drives to the basket early on. And it's kind of flustered the Cardinal defense a little bit. And now with their first three-pointer of the game, you got to at least respect it, because the option is there now.
We mentioned at the end of the first quarter the similarities in field goal percentage, and in 2 minutes and 51 seconds, that has changed dramatically. The Pioneers are now up to 44% up from 35, and the Cardinals have sunk to 30%. So this is a very different second quarter in terms of efficiency for Carroll. Bounce pass outside Dimitrova. Into the corner, Pearson with the 3. Good. Right on cue. Able to get some points back and erase an 8-0 run for the Pioneers.
And that's the thing with the Cardinal offense as of late, or as of late in this quarter, I should say. They have gotten good looks from beyond the arc. It's not like they're just chucking them up and they're bad shots. They're moving the ball well, and sometimes they're just getting open looks from beyond the arc, and it's okay to throw those shots. But you got to start working it down low and getting your looks inside as well.
Travel called on Dimitrova. A little perplexed at that call. Not me, her. 6:30 to go. Hayden Braun checks in. Cardinals coming up with a big win a few weeks ago at Augustana, and you kind of felt like maybe that was a turning point for this team, as the basket underneath converted by Gruber, who's enjoying a very successful second quarter now. Gruber up to 11 points on 4 of 6 shooting. Dimitrova pounding away underneath, sends it off the bottom of the backboard. But he felt like that Augustana game was going to maybe change the course of the season, and then they come back and they lose an absolute heartbreaker. It was a 1-point loss to North Park in overtime, 83-82. They'd exhausted all their resources and coming back in that final quarter only to lose in OT. And since then, they've been 1-6.
Yeah, and like you said, that Augustana game could have very well easily been a turning point for this team in this season. But to come back and lose a heartbreaker like that, it really puts a damper on any sort of momentum they had after that, especially with the way that game ended. It's a game that was very winnable, just a poor judgment call and a costly mistake.
Braun with a point-blank look at the net. Sends it across, no good, and foul on the other end as well on Braun. And it will be the Cardinals' second team foul. Also Braun's second, as Hannah Vickus checks back in for the Cardinals. Back into the game, Haley Harrigus for the Pioneers. Gabby Atkins also checks in. She inbounds the ball to Harrigus and gets it right back in the corner. Lots of ball movement here. And now 9 seconds on the shot clock as Majerus goes to work. Jumper good. Some really good defense for the Cardinals, denying access into the lane, and finally a contested 18-footer drops.
Yeah, you can't really argue with how you play defense in that possession. Just a good set of jump shooting there, and they've displayed that early, so you got to respect it.
Dimitrova tried to slide and avoid an offensive charge, and instead turns the ball over. Now a three for Atkins, elbows around the rim, and Pearson has it in her hands. Takes it to the rim and able to bank it home.
I'd like to see Pearson get a little more, or a few more looks going to the rim. Obviously that coast-to-coast earlier, and then just now, she seems to do pretty well driving to the rim, even though we know her for her shooting ability.
Seven on the shot clock. Majerus with it. Hit that jump shot a moment earlier. Backdoor pass, reverse layup, and it's good for Schwantes. Majerus is playing very well right now, commanding this offense. Screen set for Vickus as she rolls to the basket. Instead, the ball swung around, and Pearson takes the three and should rattle that one home. Five straight points for Pearson, and she has the Cardinals to within 4. Without her effort, I don't know where they'd be right now.
She's quietly having a really good game for the Cardinals. Hit a three earlier, and now, as you said, the last 5 points.
Three from the corner, airballed, and a foul on the Cardinals. No, foul on the Pioneers, excuse me. That was on Schwantes. To your point, Pearson, yeah, 4 of 6 shooting, 2 of 4 from behind the arc. Couple of rebounds, 10 total points. She leads the Cardinals coming off the bench.
And from what we've seen out of Coach Bax this season thus far, is she likes to ride the hot hand. So if Pearson's going to continue to play well, she's going to get more time on the court.
Cross-court pass, Pearson tracks it down. Was not able to get a shot off with the missed pass. Now gets it into the hands of Brennan. Vickus will take a high arcing three. And Maitri Smith cannot convert on the offensive rebound, and Pearson taken down on the jump ball. Fell on top of her opposing player in Schwantes. Looks like everybody's all right. And the ball will belong to the Pioneers. The Cardinals got the ball to begin the second quarter.
Pearson continuing her aggressive play, trying to really get this Cardinal team back on top in this game.
I think you've got a really exciting trio of guards if you're North Central. Howard, Newsom, and Pearson, all freshmen. Lots of time to develop, both individually and as a collective group.
Yeah, and with the game going towards more of a positionless game, you could easily see a 3-guard set of Newsom, Howard, and Pearson later on down the road. And that could, if they can develop their individual games and work well together, that can be a very dangerous trio.
Pioneers suffering from a shot clock violation, turns it over to the Cardinals. Howard has it knocked away. by Amanda Hooks. 2:08 to go in the first half. Pearson set to inbound it to Howard. Howard almost loses it, and the foul call. Didn't see a ton of contact there, but that will represent the 13th foul on the Pioneers.
Howard bailed out a little bit there with the call. I don't know if she would have been out of bounds, but it was very close down there on the baseline.
Inbounded outside to Pearson, hands off to Maitrese Smith as she tries to kick it out as well, and a jump ball for it. Pearson trying to battle through the weeds. Now Maitrese Smith down low, and a travel call. So all that work and results in a turnover. Substitution as Foley checks in. Rebecca Foley joining the team just a few weeks into the season. After taking some time off, she'll check in favor of Maitrese Smith. Minute 45 to go, 4-point affair. Oh, and it remains a 4-point affair. Bunny layup missed by Gruber, who's been very good here in the first half.
Those are tough ones.
Howard converts the bucket and will go to the free throw line for an and one. Big time play as the first half draws to a close to try and recapture some momentum.
Yeah, especially after what should have been a layup, and a 6-point lead is now down to almost 1 point.
32-30, chance to make it, like you said, a 1-point game. Rattles home the free throw to do just that. Kayla Stefka checks in. Only a few more possessions remaining in this first half. Howard almost with the steal, and that ball thrown away. You can credit Howard with the steal, essentially with the pressure that she applied.
Yeah, it caused the bad errant pass, and there you go, turnover. Essentially, as you said, a steal.
Walls has it. Finds a cutting Rebecca Foley, and she'll put the ball through the hoop. And she puts the Cardinals up by 1.
Foley's not going to blow you away with the style of game that she plays, but she's just so fundamentally sound, especially when she gets around the rim. She doesn't try and do too much, and usually converts.
Howard, no. And that's the last touch by, ooh, I thought perhaps the Pioneers, but it'll go down the other way. How about on the other end, Gruber with an acrobatic jump shot, layup, floater. I don't know what you want to call that, as she was sliding to the basket from about 8-9 feet out.
And that's possibly something the Cardinals want to talk about at the half, is their transition defense. A couple of easy baskets for the Pioneers here late in the second quarter.
That one thrown over the head of Vickus, and converting the basket underneath is Schwantes, and now she'll go to the line, trying to make this a 3-point play.
And with those types of passes, they're really easy to identify on defense. So the fact that there was no help defense at all off of that is shocking. You really got to come over and double in that situation, get the ball out of the post.
Back to a 4-point game, 37-33. The Cardinals can hold for the final possession. Newsom into the lane, the underhanded left shot. Impressive move for the freshman. 1 second left. Good if it goes, it does not go. 37-35 at the halftime break. The Cardinals and Pioneers battling, scrapping to a near draw at intermission. Second half comes away in 15 minutes. Stay tuned, right on NCTV 17. We'll be back inside Murner Fieldhouse. Listen to the cowbell. Welcome back to NCTV 17. It's the famous line, I need more cowbell.
Still need more cowbell.
Still need more cowbell. Cardinals still need more points. Second half of play back here on NCTV 17. Kevin Jackman, Zach Bucher. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you had a fantastic new year, happy holidays, and into 2019 we go. Cardinals trying to start off this new year with a new them and a new win. Foul on the defensive end will kickstart our second half. Comes against Carroll. Cardinals really showed some flashes of brilliance on the offensive end in the first half, and then they also showed some inconsistencies. But I think one of the most impressive areas was Allie Pearson. Great first half of play.
Yeah, the offense got off to a hot start. Lindsey Brennan, a couple of three-pointers and a couple of three-point plays, and a three-pointer from Newsome had them going really well. And then the offense kind of lagged a little bit, and then in the second quarter, like you mentioned, Allie Pearson kind of stepped up, scored 5 straight points, hit a three that really shifted the momentum and gave this Cardinal team an opportunity to bring the score within 2 to end the half.
Katie Rossetti with the layup underneath, and now Walls with the response on the other end cannot knock it down. And that ball will wind up out of play. Good atmosphere as the students have returned to Naperville. A 6-week hiatus from Thanksgiving to New Year. And we remark a lot how often the stretch of time between when the students leave and when they come back, a lot of those games just feel kind of barren. As Howard trying to fight for a loose ball, knocks it outside. Newsome thought about taking the three, now settles into the half court. Actually, she'll take it herself, and
I don't know about that one.
Foul called, and Newsome will go to the line. But a lot of those games kind of feel devoid of some of the energy that you get when the students are here on campus, and you can feel that here tonight. The marching band's back. The student section is back.
Yeah, and as we mentioned earlier, when Brennan hit her 2 three-pointers, if she had hit her third in a row, the roof was going to come off in this place because there's just so much more energy, and it's so much louder, and it really gets you pumped up if you're the home team.
Newsome connects on a pair of free throws. 39-37. Both teams have owned a lead. And an offensive foul, pretty easy to pick out of a crowd. That was Rossetti who was moving as she tried to set one.
And threw her elbow out too.
It's tough to get away with one, let alone right in front of an official. That was the case on that possession, and now the Cardinals will get it back with a chance to tie or take the lead. 8:42 to go here in the third quarter.
Pretty hard to get away with one unless your name is James Harden.
Into the middle of the floor, now kicking out. Lindsey Brennan gets it back. Newsome driving to the basket. Off the glass, no good. Walls stripped as she tried to go back up. And she is the last to touch as it rolls out of play. Rebounding was one of those gripes that Coach Bax had in the first half, as that one's simply thrown away.
Yeah, Majerus not paying attention there. Trying to get a good look in the corner, potentially for a three-point jump shot, but got to be aware of the ball for that to happen.
But how about that rebounding effort in the first half? At times the Cardinals looked tenacious, at other times they looked content with allowing the person next to them to try and collect. That one out of play. Cardinals will keep it.
Yeah, it especially showed on the defensive rebounds. Cardinals would box out a couple of people, but then not everybody would get boxed out, and you get a couple of hands, a couple of fingertips on a rebound, and it's poked loose, and you get second chance opportunities. And it really hurt them in the first half.
Dimitrova with the jump shot off the feed from Walls. Ties this game up at 39 apiece. Majerus to the basket, floater with the left hand, good.
That was a good screen there. Really got to communicate on defense, screens like that.
Far side, Newsom. Newsom has to back out. Got swamped. Throws it down low, Dimitrova with nobody behind her.
Great pass there by Newsom, great find, good post up. And the Cardinals need to start doing more of that if they want to continue to stay in this game.
Shot missed by a cutting Schwantes. Back and forth we go. Howard into the lane, kicks. Walls open for a triple. Shot that confidently and gives the Cardinals a 3-point lead with 6:50 to play and a timeout taken. 30-second break for the Pioneers. Cardinals seem re-energized to begin this third quarter.
Yeah, I don't know what Coach Bax was talking about in halftime during the half, but they seem to be coming out and playing with a lot more energy than they did in the first half, and continuing their hot streak from beyond the arc as well, which is really helping them kind of stay in this game despite the field goal percentage deficit.
For this quarter, they are 3 of 6 from the floor, including 1 of 2 from behind the arc. And that has boosted their overall totals to 40% from the field and 41 from 3.
Not very often you shoot better from 3 than you do just in general on the floor.
Lofted into the far side corner. Jump shot taken by Gruber, and that's the second time that she has hit almost an identical shot like that. It's a high difficulty shot.
It is, but the unfortunate thing about that is Gruber has about a 5 to 6 inch advantage over Howard. It's kind of easy to pull up, and you don't really have much of a hand in your face.
Big game for the men's team down in Rock Island, taking on Augustana, who is ranked 3rd in the country. And the Vikings own a 36-29 lead 16 minutes ago in the second half. The Cardinals really sharing the load offensively. Blaze Meredith and Will Klossel are tied for the team lead with 7 points apiece.
And those are 2 players who have absolutely stepped up their game this season.
Big time.
Absolutely. You got Meredith, who's doing a more conservative job on the offensive end. He's saying, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to score the basketball. Especially with the loss of Sorensen, you kind of needed an extra offensive weapon. And Colossal has been excellent off the bench.
And now he's thrusted into the starting lineup. Jack Bronick has a torn ACL he's done for the season. That's a recent development. So Colossal into the lineup, and Pollock and Kotha really your only 2 bench players. Aiden Chang also done for the year with, yeah, I don't know an official prognosis, but what I believe to be a broken ankle.
I do believe, based on what I saw from the Twitter sphere, he might have broken his femur.
Oh.
Which that's significantly worse.
Yes.
I was scrolling through the internet the
Which
day
is a
that
dangerous thing to do.
Yes. The day that it happened, and I just saw, I believe it was Carroll they were playing, and Wheaton, yes. And Wheaton had tweeted at North Central and Aiden Chang saying something about condolences and prayers and whatnot. And I immediately was extremely concerned for what had happened, and later I had seen a retweet from Aiden Chang concerning his leg injury and all the details. And it's not fun to see that kind of stuff happen, especially to a young athlete.
And to a senior leader who you would expect to perhaps be done with his collegiate career. Hopefully he is all right moving forward and has a speedy recovery. Into the corner, Dessenberg, a jump shot. No scoring, as we've conversed about the men's team. Back and forth play, a couple of turnovers, an offensive charge for the Pioneers. The Cardinals missing a few good looks on the offensive end.
Both teams seeming to miss a few good looks.
From the corner, Pearson in and out, no good, and Pioneers have it. So right from Aiden Chang, He had successful surgery to repair torn ligaments, a dislocated ankle, and a fractured fibula. So not the femur, thankfully. The femur, femur. Yeah, that's I believe, the largest bone in the body.
Yeah, I believe that's the bone that connects your hip to your knee.
Yeah. Deep three taken, knocked down by Gruber again. She is, I take that back, that is actually Cruz. Yeah, that would have been a major injury. So again, hopefully Aiden has a speedy recovery.
But now for a team that, you know, you had a couple of senior leaders in Bronick and Chang, now both going down with season-ending injuries. The younger players get more time on the court, but you also have to ask more of those young players. You need them to step up. You need someone else off the bench to step into the rotation and do things that they may not have been asked to do at the start of the season.
We'll keep you updated on that game in Rock Island for the remainder of our game here as Dimitrova goes to the line, knocks down one. For as loud as this place gets, it gets so quiet when the home team is on the charity strike.
You could hear a pin drop.
I just feel awkward talking because I feel like everybody can hear me. Knocks down a pair, 46-46. Heard some giggles from some young fans off to the left of us. 3:30 to go, third quarter. Cannot get any closer than this. We've got ourselves a tie ball game. Kicking out, Majerus, a three, no. Hauled in by Foley. And now Howard out in transition. Kicks it into sixth gear and comes up just short on the floater. Near side, Harrigus. Majerus at the top. Bounce pass down low. Back out top. And a blocking foul on Pearson. That'll be the Cardinals' first team foul. Again, not a lot of fouls called in this game. It's difficult to discern whether it's the style of play these two teams employ or perhaps these officials are just letting them play, which I'm always a big fan of.
Absolutely, because you just love being able to watch a game and very few interruptions. You got a lot of action going on, especially in basketball. You have constant action up and down the court. But only 6 fouls between the two teams through the first 7 minutes or so of this quarter. So about a foul a minute. But it's fun when the refs give the players the ability to just play the game.
Pearson has the ball stripped out of her possession. 2.5 to go, 2-point lead Pioneers. Tough to say who has an edge. Score says Carroll, but we've seen these two teams jockey for position over the course of the first almost 30 minutes now. Deep three, front of the rim, no good. Pinballing around, picked up by Dessenberg, and now thrown ahead to Howard.
Yeah, and at this point, it's going to just take one team stepping up and going on a run to really break this game open.
Howard hit the deck hard. He's holding her right arm. And hopefully she's all right. The official checking on her right now. And she's well enough to go to the free throw line. In and out, no good on the first attempt. Maitrice Smith checks into the game. Dimitrova will get a breather, and now Newsom sits at the scorer's table waiting for Howard to potentially check out. Howard connects on 1 of 2, and Ty will head to the bench. Alana will check in.
This perhaps to kind of check on Howard and see what happened on the play and hopefully rest her arm.
Grabs a water bottle, signals to the training staff on while right, and heads right over to the bench, ready for her next assignment. Atkins back into the game as well. She possesses, goes over to Majerus. Flashing to the basket, the lay-in good. Count the basket and a foul. Rossetti will go to the free throw line.
And that was a pretty good adjustment on the part of the Pioneers. Last couple of possessions that Rossetti got in the post, the Cardinals had made their adjustment, bringing over another player, double teaming in the post, getting the ball out of her hands or potentially making the shot harder. And Pioneers come down and they run a play where she dive cuts to the basket for an easy layup.
She converts the three-point play and heads off to the bench. Schwantes checks in her stead. Headed off Dessenberg. Cross-court Pearson shaking loose for a three. Tried to bank it off the glass, no good. Some scrappy play for both teams ends up in the hands of the Pioneers. And how about Majerus, the concentration. It's now a 6-point lead for the visiting Pioneers.
And this is what we were talking about. One little run could break this game wide open. Cardinals kind of stressing on offense here. Need to get a good look.
Dessenberg for three. Too strong, no good. Maitree Smith collects. Kicks it out. Pearson, one dribble and a three. Yes! Big time basket for Allie Pearson.
And it seems as though when the Cardinals needed one, she provides. And that's, like you said, a big three-pointer to shift the momentum back to neutral at this point.
.30 seconds on the game clock, 7 on the shot clock. Majerus has it. To the corner, three, taken, made. Harrigus finds the bottom of the net to respond to the Cardinals' three.
Unfortunately, Pearson gambled there in the passing lane. Did not pay off.
And now the Cardinals with the last possession of this third quarter. 6 on the game clock. Foley, jump shot, cannot find the bottom of the twine. And 30 minutes are up. Cardinals will go into the fourth quarter trailing by 6. We'll step aside. We'll be right back for the final stanza on NCTV 17. Final 10 minutes are here. Fourth quarter has arrived. And the Cardinals trail by 6 thanks to a late surge in the third quarter by the Pioneers. But this could be a matter of who has that last run. Kind of has the feeling of that kind of game, doesn't it?
It does. Both teams playing extremely well on both ends of the court here in the second half.
Rossetti misses, but
close.
Stefka able to pick it away. Yeah, it is close. Nine and a half to go. A twofer for the Pioneers on this end of the floor.
And this game could come down to those 50-50 balls. Really got to fight for those rebounds and those second chance opportunities.
And they got 2 of them on that one possession finishing with Stefka converting off the glass. Foley shakes loose of her defender, hands off Dimitrova off the glass, and it rolls in. Good response from the Cardinals offense. Backdoor pass, Majerus. Beautiful feed there from Cruz. Newsom, again with that left hand, the finger roll off the glass, and good.
It's so nice, especially for a guard, to be able to go to both sides of the basket and finish well with both hands. It really opens up a lot of different opportunities for guards to score.
Back and forth, and another two put in. Stefka for the second time here in the fourth.
And another post play for the Pioneers that led to 2 points. Cardinals are really going to have to hunker down on those.
Cardinals have been keeping pace, but that miss could drop them behind. And one miss on the offensive end, and now a loose ball tracked down by Cruz. Majerus gets the screen, takes the three, no good, too strong. Howard the rebound. Does not have favorable numbers, but goes to the far side. Brennan takes the three. And that misses everything. She's been very quiet since that first quarter.
Yeah, not a lot of plays ran for her, but she is definitely a good offensive option if they get the opportunity.
Jump ball called for as Dimitrova got tied up. The possession arrow in favor of the Cardinals as they trail by 8. This representing a big game in conference play. The Cardinals would love to move to 2 and 3. And vice versa, they'd hate to drop to 1 and 4. It'd be a very tough mountain to climb should they sink to 1 and 4. Remember though, 6 teams make the conference tournament, so all is not lost should this game not end up in their favor. Howard misses on the layup attempt, and she'll go to the line for 2. First is good for Howard. You would assume that Howard or Newsom's going to have to step up here in the fourth.
Yeah, very quiet night from both, out of both of them. A couple of flashes of scoring by Newsom recently, and Howard a couple of times with a few drives. But yeah, they're really going to have to step it up and give some offensive pressure for this Cardinal team.
Gruber out ahead, got the lofted pass down low, and she misses, and then Dimitrova able to throw it off of her and out of play. That's a heads-up play by the veteran forward. Oh! They changed the call, and I thought they got it right the first time.
They got it right the first time. Absolutely.
Surprised by the overturned call. 7-point game, and a 3 taken from the near side wing skips off the front of the rim. No good, but an offensive board. And a timeout taken, a 30-second timeout taken. Cardinals are simply getting beat on the boards.
Absolutely, and you can see Coach Bax is a little irate. I wouldn't say irate, I guess, but
frustrated.
Frustrated, possibly getting on her players about these rebounds that they keep giving up. Too many second chance opportunities, and it's killing them and hurting any chance of them coming back.
Taking a look at the game stats and rebounds in favor of Carroll, as the eyeballs would tell you, 28-21, including a 10-7 edge on the offensive glass.
And it's something that the Cardinals have struggled with all season. Minus almost 6 boards a game. Rebounds seems like such a throwaway stat, but it's one of the only stats that you really have to hustle to get and you have to work for. So, you know, rebounds can make or break a game easily, just as much as three-pointers.
Rossetti takes the jumper, no good. And stepping on the end line, turning it over is Stefka. And I don't know if you noticed this, but in the middle of the forest, it was Ty Howard, the 5'4" freshman, battling for the rebound, the only member of the Cardinals in the vicinity, but scrapping to try and make sure they gain possession.
And that's what they're going to have to do in this last 6 minutes. They got to fight for every rebound because right now they're getting beat on the boards and it's hurting them a lot.
Howard, floater, short. And here come the Pioneers up the floor. Pushed ahead to Majerus. And they can work some clock. Majerus almost left the ball behind. And a 5-second violation. That's called against Sierra Gruber, who held on just a titch too long.
Which is odd considering I think she still had her dribble.
Newsome to the basket, did not draw the foul and misses the shot as the Cardinal bench none too pleased by the lack of a whistle.
And I guess in that regard, the refs are letting the players play. We talked about that earlier. No fouls, and we're halfway through the fourth quarter and only 2 fouls.
Make that 3. Cardinals commit their first as Gruber takes the shot and she'll go to the line for 2. Talk about a lack of fouls. In this game, not a ton of them. 25, and we're midway through the fourth quarter. Combined, of course, that is. So you're talking 8 per team per quarter. Not even. That's pretty good.
Especially when you consider that on the women's side, you have 5 fouls apiece before bonus. So for both teams to enter bonus, you need 10 team fouls, or 10 fouls between the 2 teams.
Allie Pearson hits the deck and dragged down a Pioneer with her. That was Gruber hitting the floor. So that's their 3rd team foul. And I don't think either team has been in bonus at all in this game. Fairly confident.
If they have, there hasn't been another foul to cause the bonus to come into effect.
Precisely. Pearson, she's fouled on her way to the hoop. As we talk about this, now Carroll's 1 away from going into bonus. Or putting the Cardinals into bonus, I should say.
Yeah, and as we start mentioning lack of fouls, there are now 3 over the course of the last 30 seconds.
Dimitrova's pass, a lazy duck out to Newsome. That's picked off. Gruber converts on the offensive end. That is simply a mental lapse as Newsome collides with Schwantes, and now pickpockets, and she's stripped, but a foul, and she'll go to the line.
I know we mentioned Newsome and Howard possibly having to step up here in this fourth quarter, but I feel like in trying to do that, you can clearly see them pressing a little too hard. Newsome driving against 2 or 3 defenders. Howard throwing up floaters with no real help on the offensive glass. So it's tough to see these 2 trying, but they're just not really helping, I guess you could say.
You know, sometimes you can try so hard that you almost become, I don't want to say reckless, but you start playing without that same discipline.
You become a little bit more of a problem than a solution.
10-point game, 4:20 to go. Of course, both of those players in the matter of a flash could suddenly have an 8-point streak, and that's the double-edged sword for this Cardinal team. Very young, but also you're going to have those streaks. Jump ball called, and the Cardinals will come up with it. We'll see if they can build some momentum here. Foley behind the three-point line goes to Dimitrova. Howard gets bumped. And a foul, blocking foul on Schwantes, and now Howard will go to the line for two. And for the first time tonight, one of these teams has been placed in bonus.
And honestly, this is probably best case scenario for the Cardinals. You stop the clock here and get an opportunity to get 2 free points. But it's going to be up to the Cardinals now to connect on these free throws, which is something that they've struggled with over the past couple of seasons.
Howard misses on the first. Tries to make this a single-digit deficit. And knocks down one of two. Cardinals also need some stops on the defensive end. Timeout taken with 4 seconds left to get it over the timeline. That's a smart one taken by Lindsey Schultz, the head coach of the Carroll Pioneers.
Yeah, you can't be too careful, especially down the home stretch, up by 9 at this point. You don't want to give away any possessions.
30-second timeout. They have 2 remaining. The Cardinals still have 4 timeouts as they trail by 9.
Yeah, with 4 timeouts, 3:45 on the clock turns into almost 15, it would feel like, if you play your timeouts correctly.
And there's still plenty of possessions to be had. A 9-point lead is nothing in this gym. We've seen this time after time. See what kind of defense the Cardinals come out with, and it appears as though they're going to have a full court press. Timeout might have been more of a burden than a help. As Foley strips it away, gets it over to Pearson. The three, in and out, no good. Would have been a huge turn of events. And now a deep pass to Gruber. She leaks out in front, and a clean strip from Newsom will keep it on that end of the floor, but prevent a shot.
And that would have been a huge shift of momentum with that three-pointer, but you had numbers there. You could have easily gotten a 2-point basket or a better look than that. Open look for the three, but still, there were better looks.
Thrown to the corner, and out of play it goes. So the Cardinals do end up getting a turnover on the defensive end. Still trail by 9, 3:20 to go, fourth quarter.
Don't got to try and get it all back in one possession. Just chip away with 3 minutes to go. You more than enough time to get couple good looks down low.
Pearson comes up empty on a jump shot. And now Majerus will slow things down in the half court. Briefly, an update on the men's team, and it's gotten ugly down in Rock Island. 20 points now the lead for Augustana. 64, and now 47, so the Cardinals trail by 17 under 4 to play in that game. Cardinals really struggling from the field tonight. Here, it's a 9-point game, and Pearson comes up with a steal, does not have numbers, and she wisely waits for help. Into the corner, now Foley drives baseline, tries to scoop it over to Dimitrova, and Dimitrova will knock into 2.
And those are the kind of looks that you need, and those are the kind of looks that you've got to convert on. Good ball movement, and a good finish by Dimitrova.
2:13 remaining. 7-point game as Majerus goes to the hole. No good. Tipped out and controlled by the Pioneers. They can waste another 26 seconds, bring this down to near a minute and a half. Gruber picks up her dribble, goes to the outside, and that's Schwantes. Gruber with 9 on the clock, throws one off haphazardly, and a blocking foul on the Cardinals. I'm a little confused about that call, but Gruber will go to the line for 2, and that's the Cardinals' second team foul.
A little bit of a delayed whistle there. There was some contact on the initial shot, but I feel like the contact was more or less allowed, as Pearson was straight up and down.
In and out, no good. Back into the game, Melissa Cruz. And that one will bounce in. And a timeout taken. It'll be a 30-second for Coach Bax. 67 to 59, minute 41 to go. Tough to overcome this kind of lead this late, but certainly not out of the question.
No, it's not out of the question, that's for sure. You really got to try and get some good open looks now. Three-pointers are good, but you could take it easy too and still be able to get back into this game. So it'll be interesting to see what Coach Bax draws up.
The first-year head coach drawing up plays in the huddle. Almost an entirely new coaching staff. McCloskey Bax joined by Kimberly Chandler and Jenny Callan-Crock. The one holdover is our good friend Eric Gruber, the graduate assistant. Also in the past has worked part-time with NCTV 17.
And I do believe he called a few games with you.
He most certainly did.
Prior to my time here.
Your tenure. As Newsom takes a 3, no good. Pulled down and nearly traveling and almost nearly stepping on the end line as Pearson gets the steal. Gets it over to Newsom, take 2, and this one again off the mark. Howard, the rebound, kicks it out to Pearson. Minute 15 remaining now. As Pearson picks up her dribble, goes to Newsom. Steps into the lane, rolls one up, and a foul called on Carroll. So Newsom to the line for 2 free throws, minute 8 remaining, still an 8-point game. It's been a quick affair tonight. It's only an hour and a half into this game.
And only a minute left.
It's miraculous how quickly a game can go without an excess amount of fouls. It just kind of loosens up. There's more of a natural flow to it.
That's how basketball's meant to play. It's a very fast-paced, up and down kind of game. A lot of action, a lot of things going on the court, and it's much nicer when there's a nice flow and constant play.
Cardinals calling for some pressure on the ball. Double team comes. Gruber swamped, gets it over to Majerus, gets it right back. And she'll get walled up by Brennan. That's only the team's 3rd foul, so they still have some work to do to get them to the free throw line. 52.5 seconds remaining. Fresh shot clock, though. And that was nearly it is a jump ball. I think Cruz was anticipating the foul. And instead it's a jump ball, and granted, Carroll gets the possession arrow, but you do that again, you might get the ball back.
Yeah, and Cruz, like you said, was anticipating the foul, but when you present the ball to the defense, it's not very often that you're going to get that call. Howard, good play, just grabbing at the ball and getting a jump ball.
That's their 4th team foul, so one more and they go into bonus, and there it is. So Cruz will go to the free throw line. 47 seconds off the clock, or remain on the clock, I should say. Only 6 seconds came off the clock after the Cardinals started fouling. 6-point game, 67-61 first free throw, no good. Pearson and Newsom back into the game. Brennan and Dessenberg to the bench.
And at this point, you probably see these substitutions pretty frequently. Pearson and Newsom coming into the game for shooting ability, whereas Dessenberg and Foley come into the game for defensive purposes.
Full timeout taken by head coach Bax. And we'll take one, too. We'll be right back. 47-6 remaining on NCTV 17. Cardinals with 47 seconds to work with, 68-61. Howard gets the pass right back from Newsom. And she nearly dribbles it off her own foot, gets it over to Newsom. Newsom into the lane. That one batted away and out of play. 35 seconds remaining, 12 seconds off the clock. Cardinals still have 18 seconds on the shot clock, although they do not want to use much of that at all. They need shots and good ones.
Yeah, at this point, you got to start chucking up good three-point shots. Not much else you can really do.
Pearson able to knock in the layup. 68-63.
Layups are good too, but now you got to get steals off these inbounds plays.
It's a 5-point game, 29.2 seconds, and it's head coach Lindsey Schultz of Carroll taking a full timeout. So another minute break. Keep it here this time around. The Cardinals in jeopardy of dropping to 1-4 in conference. And when you do that, you have to play from behind, not just in games, but in the season. And that's always difficult. However, and I'm certainly not putting the stamp of finished on this game just yet, but this is a team that's going to continue to grow. And I don't think a 1-4 mark in conference play is going to be a death kiss for this team.
No, I don't think so at all. There's just far too much talent on this team. It's raw talent, but talent nonetheless. And they're just going to get better and better as the season goes on and as they grow together. You have a new system and a new coach, so there's a lot of moving cogs that you need to get used to in the machine that is this Cardinals basketball team.
Carroll trying to inbound. They do to Majerus. Majerus able to pass out of a double team, cross the court, and finally, about 7 seconds after that ball was inbounded, the Cardinals commit the foul. That is a lot of time to waste. I get going for the steal, but at the same time.
And that's the thing that's unfortunate about the way that the refs have been calling the game tonight. Pearson was probably fouling Majerus there a few times on the steal attempt.
I thought so too.
So she was probably hoping to get the foul called, but if you're going to foul them, you have to foul them hard. Well, not hard, but you got to foul it.
Convincingly.
Make it convincingly, yes.
Timeout taken by North Central, and this is a 30-second timeout. 21.7 seconds remaining, and it's a 7-point game, 70-63. And really, that push at the end of the third quarter seems to be what's propping up Carroll right now. That's kind of the cushion that they've been working with. But they've done it up and down the board. Gruber with 20 points in this game. 3 other players in double figures, and Majerus, Cruz, and Rossetti. For North Central, Dimitrova with a very quiet 16.9. Of course, Pearson with 15 and Newsom with 12. But Newsom's night, very inefficient, with only 3 of 14 shooting from the floor. She has the rock in her hands right now. Into the lane she goes, off the glass, and able to get the friendly roll. Wasting only 5 seconds in the process, and the foul committed almost immediately. Both teams with only 1 timeout remaining. 17, make that 16 seconds left. I guess if you're the Cardinals, you hope for a couple of misses here, and you're going to need more than just a few misses here. But
yeah, a couple of misses right here would really put them into a good spot on the other end. But Carroll doing a really good job of converting on their free throws tonight, which is why I constantly bring up free throws that almost game in and game out. They can make or break.
Last timeout taken by Maggie McCloskey backs. Full timeout, we'll keep it here. 72-65, 16.5 seconds to go. You've got shooters on the floor. At this point, you need a quick 3.
Yeah, and given how the game has gone, I'd expect it to be Pearson that maybe gets the opportunity, but I wouldn't be surprised if Newsom was the one to get the shot, or even Howard. Newsom, as you mentioned, a little inefficient tonight, but also one of the highlight scorers for this team, and she can knock down that 3-point jump shot just about as well as anyone on the team.
Game started out, and for the mostly, well, it was 2.5 quarters. It was very tight. A lot of lead changes, a lot of ties. This fourth quarter got close at times, but Carroll has led for the majority of it. Cardinals will break the timeout in a moment. And when they do, they'll try and make this a 4-point game. And it looks like Pearson will be the inbounder.
And it's not uncommon to see the inbounder be the one to get the shot.
And she's got the rock in her hands. 10 on the shot clock, step back 3. Off the glass, no good. Dimitrova tried to put it back up and in, and she will this time around. 4.5 seconds remaining. Gets the Cardinals to within 5, and that will be the ball game. 72-67, our final tonight. Carroll invades Gregory Arena and takes home a win over the Cardinals by a 72-67 mark. Cardinals, again, they look good, but they just can't finish some of these games. They've been excruciating losses over the course of the year.
Yeah, it's tough to lose some of these games. The overtime loss, last home game, this game, which was very winnable, and they were in it for a majority of the game. They just couldn't put together that run that kind of grabbed the momentum away from Carroll. Carroll put themselves in a good position, up 11 at one point in the third quarter, and they just kind of rode that lead for the remainder of the game.
Cardinals up next will host Elmhurst on Saturday. That'll be a doubleheader. We'll have that right here on NCTV 17. The women will take the floor first at 5 o'clock. The men will then take on the Blue Jays at 7. We'll see how they fare come Saturday. Until then, we'll sign off. We'll see you next time on NCTV 17 and on NCTV17.com.